Good evening, I'm Rishilda Ismail and you're watching Kini News. PKR President Anwar Ibrahim has responded to allegations that some party members were planning a parallel congress in Kuala Lumpur this weekend. And speaking to reporters at the Parliament lobby today, Anwar expressed doubts that it will happen. However, he warned that any party members which attempted to split the party or sabotage the party's upcoming National Congress will be sacked.
PKR President Anwar Ibrahim has warned that any party member which attempted to split the party or sabotage the party's upcoming National Congress will be sacked. Anwar said his commitment was to unite the party, while noting that more than 80% of party delegates had already registered for the Congress which begins tonight.
Saya nak jelaskan ya, sejak 3 hari yang lalu, 83% perwakilan berjanji hadir di Melaka. Jadi seandainya ada sekalipun hanya sekitar 10%. Saya harap tidak ada. Kerana kalau wujud dan diteruskan, mana-mana ahli dan pemimpin yang hadir akan dipecat daripada keahlian.
Yesterday, Anwar met his deputy Osman Ali and 11 Central Leadership Council members at a special political bureau meeting. Anwar said that during the meeting, participants had resolved that the Congress was the best platform for party delegates to exchange views with party leaders. He affirmed that the participants of the meeting were committed to strengthening the party and focusing on the people's agenda. Anwar also thanked Osman for attending the meeting and helping to dial down the temperature of media reports regarding party affairs.
Anwar also responded to allegations of sexual misconduct levelled against him by his former research officer, Mohamed Hassan.
In a press conference this afternoon, PKR President Anwar Ibrahim responded to allegations of sexual misconduct against him by his former research officer, Mohamed Hassan. Anwar said he was busy campaigning for the Port Dickson by-election at the time of the alleged incident and said that it was an attempt to tarnish his image ahead of the PKR Congress and the transition of power.
I heard about this a month ago. It's not new. Attempts to try and influence or bribe, whatever. But this is politics at its worst. And it requires tenacity of purpose, courage of conviction to move on with the bigger agenda.
He added that his private secretary had lodged a report on the matter, and his lawyer, Ramkarpal Singh, had also issued a notice of demand to Yusuf to retract the allegation within 7 days. Yesterday, Yusuf made the claim through a statutory declaration which he had read out at a press conference. He claimed that he was the victim of indecent exposure, molest, and a lewd proposal during the incident allegedly committed by Anwar on October 2nd last year at Anwar's residence in Singapore.
UMNO kicked off its General Assembly yesterday, which will run until this Saturday. In his speech officiating the UMNO Youth, Wanita and Putri Wings yesterday, UMNO Deputy President Mohamed Hassan called on delegates to make radical changes to ensure the survival of the party.
UMNO Deputy President Mohamed Hassan has urged the party's youth, Wanita and Putri Wings to make, quote, radical changes and perform a serious radical realignment to ensure the survival of the party. In his speech officiating the Wings General Assembly at the Putra World Trade Center yesterday, he said that the realignment does not only mean political practices that can address the people's legitimate concerns, but UMNO must also be more open and inclusive. He also told delegates that UMNO's future does not rest solely on the party's 3 million members.
Parti ini mesti mempunyai agenda untuk meyakinkan bangsa Melayu dan bukan Melayu bahawa ia adalah taruhan masa depan mereka dan Malaysia yang lebih baik lagi. Kita tidak boleh bergerak tanpa agenda yang konkret, tanpa plan, tanpa kejelasan tentang apa yang akan kita lakukan apabila kita diberi kepercayaan semula untuk memerintah dan mentadbir semula negara ini. Dan sudah tentu sekali, kita tidak boleh hanya mengharapkan kegagalan Pakatan Harapan semata-mata untuk memenangkan kita.
Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, Liu Vu-Kyong, said there is no report of disobedience among civil servants towards the government. He said although there is a change in the government, the civil servants continue to carry out their duties.
Minister in the Prime Minister's Department Liu Wei-kyong said that there is no sign of disloyalty from civil servants towards the government, despite public perception saying otherwise. Liu said this in Parliament today in response to a question by Ronald Kennedy during the minister's question time. Kennedy had questioned if it was true that based on public perception, there is a deep state and an act of sabotage by the civil servants, and whether there will be any action taken against those involved. Liu noted the public perception towards civil servants and said that the government will continue to monitor them to dispel the perception. He said that while there is no statistic to show that civil servants were disloyal, the government has until June this year taken action for various misconduct. This includes corruption, abuse of power, sharing fake news on social media, sexual harassment, going out of the country without permission, and absence from duty.
PKR Deputy President Mohamed Osman Ali will open both the party's Youth and Women's Wings Congress in Malacca tonight.
PKR Deputy President Mohamed Hassan Ali will open both the party's Youth and Women's Wings Congresses in Malacca. According to PKR Communications Director Fahmi Fadzil, this was decided after a meeting attended by Azmin together with a group of elected PKR Central Leadership Council leaders yesterday evening.
Kami telah membincangkan antara lain persiapan berkenaan dengan Kongres, dan boleh saya maklumkan di sini bahawa Kongres AMK dan juga wanita kedua-duanya akan dirasmikan oleh Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri Azmin pada hari Khamis 5 hari bulan Disember, manakala kedua-dua Kongres AMK dan wanita akan ditutup oleh Yang Amat Berhormat Timbalan Perdana Menteri pada hari Jumaat sebelah petang.
It was previously decided that Osman Ali will officiate the Women's Wings Congress while Wan Azizah will open its Youth Wing Congress. This was after PKR Youth Chief Akmal Nasir rescinded Azmin's invitation and instead asked Wan Azizah, as the party's highest-ranking government official, to open its Congress. The meeting yesterday marked the first time that Azmin had attended a formal party meeting in over a year, which had fueled speculations of a rift between him and party president Anwar Ibrahim.
Coming up next, NATO leaders set aside public insults to come to an agreement at 70th Anniversary Summit, and China warns the US over new bill raising doubts on a trade deal. All that and more after this. NATO leaders set aside public insult ranging from delinquent to branded and two-faced at their 70th anniversary summit on Wednesday and declared that they would stand together against common threats.
NATO leaders declared at a 70th anniversary summit that they would stand together against a common threat from Russia and prepare for China's after setting aside division between them. US President Donald Trump declared the French president, quote, nasty on arrival at the summit and left, calling Canada's Prime Minister, quote, two-faced for mocking him on a hot mic. At a Buckingham Palace reception on Tuesday evening, Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was caught on camera with Macron, Britain's Prime Minister Boris Johnson and Mark Rutte of the Netherlands laughing at Trump's long press appearances. Trump said that Macron's remarks that the alliance was, quote, brain dead in an interview last month was, quote, very, very nasty, and described allies who spent too little on defense as, quote, delinquents, a term officials said that Trump used again on Wednesday behind closed doors during the summit itself. Despite the spats, officials said important decisions were reached, including an agreement to ensure the security of communications, including new 5G mobile phone networks. The United States wants allies to ban equipment from the world's largest telecoms gear maker, Chinese firm Huawei. In a joint declaration, the alliance's 29 leaders said Russia's aggressive actions constitute a threat to Euro-Atlantic security. Terrorism in all its forms and manifestations remains a persistent threat to us all.
China warned on Wednesday that US legislation calling for a tougher response to Beijing's treatment of its Uyghur Muslim minority will affect bilateral cooperation.
China warned on Wednesday that the United States legislation calling for a tougher US response to Beijing's treatment of its Uyghur Muslim minority will affect bilateral cooperation, clouding prospects for a near-term deal to end a trade war.
Do you believe that if the US takes measures to hurt China's interests, we will just sit back and let it happen? I think for every erroneous action, an appropriate price must be paid. An appropriate price must be paid.
The US House of Representatives had passed a bill on Tuesday which requires the US president to condemn abuses against Muslims and calls for the closure of mass detention camps in its western region of Xinjiang. Representatives had condemned reports that China had detained 1 million Uyghur Muslims. The bill still has to be approved by the Republican-controlled Senate before it is sent to Donald Trump to sign into law. The White House is yet to say whether Trump would sign or veto the bill, which contains a provision allowing the president to waive sanctions if he determines that to be in national interest. Several sources familiar with Beijing's stance said that the bill would jeopardize the Phase 1 trade deal, which is already filled with disagreements and complications. The possibility of another breakdown is growing with a new round of US tariffs on Chinese goods scheduled to take effect in less than 2 weeks.
Dr. Tetsu Nakamura, who devoted decades of his life to helping people in Afghanistan, was killed along with 5 others on Wednesday. The attack comes a week after a grenade attack on a United Nations vehicle in Kabul heightened fears for those doing humanitarian work in the area.
Gunmen killed 6 people, including Tetsu Nakamura, the head of a Japanese aid agency, on Wednesday in an attack on their vehicle in Jalalabad in eastern Afghanistan. Nakamura, head of Peace Japan Medical Services, has been involved in rebuilding Afghan irrigation and agriculture and had recently been granted honorary Afghan citizenship for decades of humanitarian work in the east of the country. His death in a Wednesday attack by unknown gunmen who riddled the car he and 5 others were driving with bullets left both Afghanistan and Japan in mourning. Japan Prime Minister Shinzo Abe said that he was shocked by the death.
Dr. Nakamura has made many contributions in the field of medicine and irrigation. We know his life-risking efforts in dangerous areas have been appreciated by the people in Afghanistan. It is very shocking to hear that he has passed away in such an incident.
The gunmen fled the scene and police have launched a search operation to arrest them. No group has yet claimed responsibility for the attack, but a spokesperson for the Afghan Taliban said the militant group was not involved in the shooting.
And here are other news highlights from today. And that is all from us today. For more, log on to KiniTV.com. You can always follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook for the latest news. I'm Shilda. Thank you for watching. Wait, before we go, we'll leave you with some stunning shots of Brazil's new toy, the Mammoth P-70 floating oil production storage and offloading vessel. The engineering marvel was delivered to them by China on Wednesday.